So remember in that last SummerSlam list, which you should watch and send me presents, I told you that SummerSlam 88 was built around Hogan's return to the ring after filming Oscar-nominated film No Holds Barred. Well, that wasn't the last that SummerSlam would see of that movie, as this time around the entire main event was dedicated to it, as Hogan and Brutus Beefcake took on Randy Savage and Zeus. Yes, Zeus, the character from Oscar-nominated movie No Holds Barred. Here's a fun fact: Tom Lister, aka Zeus, got a SummerSlam match after starring in a movie with Hulk Hogan. In a neat reversal, 26 years later, Stephen Amell from Arrow wrestled Cody Rhodes as Stardust, and because of that SummerSlam match, Rhodes got given a recurring role on the Arrow TV show. I'm Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 fascinating facts about SummerSlam 89. Number 10, it was the first WWE pay-per-view not called by Gorilla Monsoon. If you count the original WrestleMania as a pay-per-view, even though technically it wasn't, it was a closed circuit showing, Gorilla Monsoon provided play-by-play for the first 10 WWE pay-per-views between 1985 and 1989. The only times you didn't hear from Gino was during the New York and Los Angeles portions of WrestleMania 2. Monsoon handled the Chicago part of the card. Certainly, Monsoon was conspicuous by his absence at the start of SummerSlam 1989. Fans were greeted instead by the fresh-faced Tony Schiavone, who called the evening's events alongside Jesse Ventura. Yet, one of the voices in WCW history, called the biggest party of the summer and the Royal Rumble in 1990 before departing the company after just a year of employment. Number 9, the Hart Foundation squared off with Vince on the day. Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart would open SummerSlam against the reigning champions Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Brainbusters. The match was curiously a non-title match, and on the day of SummerSlam itself, the Harts found out they would be losing, which didn't sit well with the Pink Warriors. The two had what the Hitman called a long, tense discussion with McMahon hours before the show, where they expressed that losing a non-title match would be highly damaging to their value. McMahon held his ground, and the Harts ultimately complied, with Bret taking the fall. Still steamed about the way things had gone down with Vince, both Foundation members left the arena long before the show was over, drowning their frustrations at a nearby bar. Number 8, Honky Tonk Man claimed working with Dusty Rhodes was painful. In SummerSlam's second match, the 43-year-old American Dream, still popular Polka Dots Be Damned, defeated the Honky Tonk Man in a fun crowd pleaser. One person not pleased by that match, or with Rhodes in general, was Honky himself. Always one to offer his, shall we say, unvarnished opinion. Honky would later state that everything Rhodes did in the ring hurt, whether he was locking up or dropping his patented elbow, going as far as to call Rhodes a stiff piece of shit. I'll say what you mean, honks. Number 7, WWE played the wrong Mean Gene tape. It's a Botchamania classic. Hello, Matthew. Love you. In this clip, Mean Gene Okerlund presides over an interview with IC champion Rick Rude and manager Bobby Heenan, when suddenly the SummerSlam emblem in the background falls to the floor. Okerlund, to the delight of many, bellows, it. The interview itself was actually a pre-tape from earlier in the day, and WWE's production staff did not intend to air the blooper. Instead of airing the version that had gone off without a hitch, WWE accidentally broadcast Gene swearing like a stubbed-toed docker. Jesse Ventura then went on an improvised, light-hearted tirade about what a troublemaker Okerlund was, because Jesse Ventura is a professional. Number 6, Mr. Perfect versus Red Rooster was cut short due to injury. Poor Terry Taylor. The Red Rooster is often regarded as one of the worst gimmicks in the annals of professional wrestling. When one thinks of Taylor, who by the way was over like Rover in the UWF before Vince got his hands on him, the Rooster persona is what most springs to mind. Another smudge on Rooster's rep occurred at SummerSlam 89 during a match with a rapidly ascending Mr. Perfect. What looked on paper to be the opportunity for a vigorous mat classic ended before it could even get started. Rooster jammed his knee on a leapfrog just minutes into the match, causing him to noticeably begin hobbling around the ring. Shortly thereafter, Perfect helped his injured opponent take it home with an early Perfect Plex after just 3 minutes. Number 5, Big John Studd was originally advertised. One of the most peculiar returns in WWE history was that of Big John Studd in late 1988. The lumbering Goliath was immediately given a win in the 1989 Royal Rumble match, after which he began to rekindle an old rivalry with Andre the Giant, both now on different sides of the face-heel spectrum. However, his return fizzled dry, and Studd would quit the company in early June 1989 over low pay. Original plans for SummerSlam were to see Studd booked in a 6-man tag alongside Demolition against Andre the Big Boss Man and Akeem the African Dream. The African Dream. Never forget he's called the African Dream. Some outlets and advertisements still had Studd listed as part of the match well into August 1989, more than 2 months after Studd walked out of TV tapings in Wisconsin never to return. Hacksaw Jim Duggan would fill in instead. Number 4, Andre the Giant was arrested the week before. Exactly 7 nights prior to the pay-per-view, Andre the Giant was taking part in a house show match with the Ultimate Warrior in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. After its conclusion, Andre rolled to the ringside area where an unexpected confrontation occurred. As the story goes, Ben Hildebrand was a local TV cameraman filming crowd shots for an upcoming news feature on WWE. He was not authorized to film any of the match, and Andre apparently caught him doing just that. Oh dear, the incensed Giant approached him at ringside and is alleged to have grabbed him him in a headlock, which resulted in damage to Hildebrand's equipment. Andre was taken into custody on assault charges, posed for a somewhat famous mugshot, and would be released after posting a $1,200 bond. He never served any actual jail time and was back on the road for that weekend's tour. Number 3, Hogan and Beefcake had to keep Zeus calm. Going into the main event, Zeus was functionally untrained, receiving minimal schooling from Hogan and Beefcake in rehearsals. Naturally, Randy Savage would do most of the heavy lifting because he's the daddy. To remedy any nerve that the giant actor might have had, Brutus Beefcake claims that he and Hogan had a method of keeping Zeus loose about this hoose. When either man was in the ring with the powerhouse, they would get him to scale back his aggression by muttering the phrase, "Free James Brown." At the time, the legendary singer was serving time from an incident the year before with police on US Interstate 20. The mantra was apparently amusing to Zeus, getting him to ease up his work. Number 2, Zeus got paid. Paid. In a 2014 interview with Grantland.com, Tom Lister rattled off the money he made for each of his major WWE appearances in 1989. They add up to nearly $150,000, with the largest payout coming for SummerSlam, which allegedly stood at $56,000. Seeing as that match clocked in at 15 minutes, Zeus was being paid an hourly rate of $224,000, which is not bad. Based on limited stats out there regarding pay-per-view payoffs, it makes sense that Zeus would have gotten paid a pretty healthy 5-figure sum for working the main event. And number 1, it was the first SummerSlam to break 600,000 buys. For SummerSlam 89, WWE raked it in big time when it came to pay-per-view, helped as it was by association with Oscar-nominated film No Holds Barred. The buy rate for the pay-per-view did 625,000 buys on pay-per-view, which is up more than 56% from the original 1988 version. Part of that can be chalked up to the pay-per-view market growing in the United States, but it's an impressive number nonetheless. Only 4 SummerSlams have done 600,000 or more buys, and 98, 99, and 2005 are the others for completionist fans. In fact, SummerSlam 89 was the last WWE pay-per-view, including WrestleManias, to top 600,000 buys for 9 years. It wouldn't be until WrestleMania 14 in 1998 with 730,000 buys that WWE would break that barrier once again.